The rain hammered against James's thermal coat as his robotic horse, Stryker, navigated the muddy terrain of Proxima B's frontier. The mechanical stallion's photoreceptors cut through the downpour, its hooves finding purchase where organic legs would have faltered. They were 3 days from the nearest human settlement, tracking survey markers through what the colonists called the Obsidian Ranges. Biosignature ahead, Stryker's synthetic voice crackled through the comm. 2 life forms. 1 adult, 1 juvenile, species unknown. James pulled up his scanner. The readings were erratic, fluctuating between reptilian and something his database couldn't classify. Distance? 40 meters northeast, they're not moving. He urged Stryker forward, one hand resting on his plasma sidearm. Humanity had been warned about Proxima B's indigenous species, the Drakari, but in 6 months of surveying, James had only seen them from a distance. Magnificent beings with iridescent scales and wings that could blot out the dual suns. They avoided humans, and humans had been ordered to avoid them. Through the sheets of rain, James saw her. She was collapsed against a rock formation. Her wings, one of them twisted at an unnatural angle, draped protectively over something small. Her scales, which should have shimmered like oil on water, were dull and caked with mud. Purple blood seeped from multiple wounds across her torso. In her arms, barely visible beneath the shelter of her damaged wing, a tiny Drakari infant mewled weakly. "She's dying," Stryker observed with mechanical detachment. James was already dismounting. Medical kit now. The dragon woman's eyes, brilliant gold even in her weakened state, snapped open as he approached. She bared her fangs, a hiss rattling from her throat, but the sound was pathetic. Desperate, she tried to curl tighter around her baby. "Easy," James said, raising his hands. "I'm not here to hurt you." She didn't understand standard, but his tone must have conveyed something. Her eyes darted to the medical kit Stryker carried over, then back to her baby. The infant's breathing was shallow, its tiny scales already losing their luster. Ilana had been running for 2 days. The rival clan had attacked without warning, slaughtering her mate and his guards. She'd escaped with their newborn daughter, but not unscathed. The broken wing alone would have been manageable, but the deep lacerations across her stomach were beyond her regeneration abilities. She knew she was dying, and her daughter, precious Zara, would die too, alone in this rain. The human approached slowly. She'd heard stories of these creatures, how they'd arrived in metal birds that fell from the sky, how they built strange structures and avoided the sacred grounds. Some said they were dangerous. Others said they were weak, soft things without claws or scales. This one knelt in the mud before her, rain streaming down his strange, flat face. He pointed to her wounds, then to a silver box he carried. "Help," James said, knowing she wouldn't understand the word, but hoping she'd understand the gesture. He pointed to himself, then to her, then mimicked bandaging motions. Ilana's strength was fading. Every breath felt like fire. Zara's cries were growing weaker. She had no choice. If there was even a chance. She nodded once, a jerky movement, and slowly, painfully, relaxed her grip on her daughter. James worked quickly. Stryker provided diagnostic analysis while he applied synth skin to her worst wounds. The technology wasn't designed for Drakari physiology, but biology was biology. Stop the bleeding. Prevent infection. Stabilize. "The infant is hypothermic," Stryker reported. "Core temperature dropping. Thermal blanket. The one rated for methane environments." While James worked on Ilana's wounds, Stryker carefully wrapped the tiny dragon in the heated blanket. The baby stopped crying almost immediately, its small body soaking up the warmth. Ilana watched through dimming vision as the human, this supposedly weak creature, fought to save her life. His hands moved with confidence, his strange companion providing tools without being asked. When he injected her with something that made the fire in her wounds recede to a dull ache, she could have wept. "She needs proper medical attention," James said, more to himself than Stryker. "The settlement has xenobiologists. They can help. The protocols forbid interference with indigenous species. Screw the protocols." James met Ilana's golden eyes. "I'm not leaving her to die in the mud." He worked for another hour using every supply in his medical kit. The rain finally stopped as he finished, the dual suns breaking through the clouds. In the light, Ilana's scales began to shimmer faintly, a sign her body was starting to heal. Stryker rigged a travois, designed for hauling equipment, but adapted with blankets and supports. They couldn't move her broken wing without risking more damage, so James splinted it as best he could using carbon fiber rods meant for tent poles. "Can you lift her?" James asked. "Her weight is within parameters. The infant weighs 14.7 kilograms. Then we're moving." As Stryker carefully began the journey back toward the settlement, James walking alongside to monitor Ilana's vitals, the dragon woman reached out with one clawed hand. She touched his arm, gentle despite the razor-sharp talons that could have torn through his coat. She didn't know the word for gratitude in his language, but she poured everything she felt into that touch, into the look in her eyes. James nodded. "You're going to be okay. Both of you." Ilana closed her eyes, her daughter warm and safe against her chest, and for the first time since the attack she believed it. She didn't know what awaited her in the human settlement. She didn't know if her clan would ever accept her back after being touched by outsiders, but she knew one truth with absolute certainty. This human had seen her pain, and instead of turning away he had chosen compassion. Perhaps humans weren't so different from Drakari after all.